a Liberian freighter coming down the Isle of Mull that was carrying cannabis in its cargo. Now the authorities knew about this cannabis, so they had set an ambush. And when they sprung the trap on this freighter, the guys on board saw all these boats speeding in towards them. They decided the best thing they could do was fling the cannabis over the side. So there were lots of little packages of cannabis bobbing round on the water. And the people on the boats were going around trying to pick up all of them to the boats. That was the customs men and the coast guard. And the police were driving up and down on the roads each side of the Isle of Mull, waiting for the wind and the tide to wash them up, and they would recover it that way. But inevitably they missed quite a lot of it. They came ashore at a place called Java, just behind now where the big hotel stands in Craignore Bay. And it's a long way away from the road, so the police missed him, and it's quite a long way inshore behind a shingle bank, so the people on the boats didn't get close to him, so they missed it as well. And the first person to stumble across it, not knowing what it was the farmer of the area. Now he unravelled the package and thought, well, that looks like very good hay. So he gathered it up and took it up to his barn and started feeding it to his cows. His wife kept hens, and she was using it for bedding for the hens. Of course, they were pecking away at it as well. So the animals started misbehaving in some rather funny manners. So they called out a vet, who almost immediately diagnosed the problem after finding out what he was feeding them on. After which the farmer was then left with a big problem of actually getting rid of the stuff again. Now, he didn't want to get caught with it, and he didn't want to own up to it, so he went into Craignore and he was asking people that he was friendly with in a very quiet sort of manner, have you got any ideas of how we can get rid of it again? And of course they had a very good idea of how they could get rid of it again. They started smoking their way through it as fast as they possibly could. And they reckon that for about a month in Craignore there was hardly a pupil in anybody's eye. So we called this poem The Mull Connection, and several references to people around at the time, and it sounds like this. Well, it came ashore the other day, what looked at first like bales of hay. The Betty said it was not this, I think it's what's called cannabis. The farmer said, well, no indeed, what you see is cattle feed. When someone said just for a joke, give me the stuff, I'll have a smoke. He took a sample from the bale, he made a roll and did inhale. Suddenly he sings and shouts, 'tis cannabis without a doubt. So the next day they came in packs, those bobbies searching for these sacks, and customs men in rubber boats, searching anything that floats. The Craignore in it took a bite, not a customer was in sight. They all were down amongst the weeds, searching for those magic seeds. The roadworks all came to a halt, and roadwork boys stopped drinking malt. But Jim himself, he saw the point, the whiskey's dear but not the joint. The village store, they saw the capers, and invested more in Rizzler papers. Well, very soon the shelves were empty, now tobacco papers, there were plenty. Well, very soon the silence broken. To the mainland someone had spoken, and papers rung, say tell us this, is Craignore full of cannabis? The stories printed, stories read, stories started, rumours spread. People on the Isle of Skye were asking if all Mull was high. The local vet, well, he intoned, he'd never seen a cow get stoned. But then he mentioned, oh alas, the local cows are on the grass. So if you've heard the tale right through, I'll guess you'll know it's not all true. But what is truth and what is not, I leave to you. I'm all to pot. Nicely timed today because we're right at Grass Point Road end. There was a couple of extra deer through there. I hope you saw them, but there weren't anything more than a better view than you've already had. Now I have had a couple of comebacks to me after this poem. Somebody was listening to it, and after the talk came up, tapped me on the shoulder and said I'd been a policeman in Oban when all that was going on. He said I wondered what had happened to it. Then there was an elderly lady who came up to me at the end of one of my tours last year. She said, oh, she was chuckling away. She said, I like your poem. I said, thank you very much. And she said, my husband had been in the customs service. She said, when all that was going on, he came home one day and he wasn't very pleased. I said, why is that? I said, well, they had caught up with it on the farm, and the farmer had blurted out that he'd fed it all to his cows, and they didn't believe him. So all of the customs men in the service at the time were issued with plastic bags and gloves. They had to go around the farm and pick up the cow pats. And they were sent off to a laboratory for testing just to make sure he was telling the truth. And of course, a certain amount of them did test positive for having passed through the digestive tract of a cow first, so he got off with it.